probably part of the context is the 2006 and the Green Movement and things like that as well. He probably wants to know your characterization of those things as well.
So I know that one of the groups that the United States has been funding is sort of this right-wing, like semi-fascist group. I believe it's called the Mujahideen. I don't know the acronym or whatever their official group name is, but that's like the shorthand. So the United States has been trying to fund a lot of like really far right groups in Iran, like militant groups that are trying to wage sort of a militant struggle against the government from a really right-wing perspective. So the United States has been funding and giving weapons to a lot of these groups to try to cause a lot more political division in Iran and then try to exploit that on an international scale. As far as the Green Movement goes, the Green Movement really presented this sort of like political division within the ruling clique in Iran. You had, on the one hand, the ruling president Ahmadinejad, and on the other hand, you had this reformist guy Mousavi, who was still part of like the ruling elite in Iran. He oversaw the torture of political dissidents and trade union activists in the 80s, and really didn't provide a program for a completely different Iran, but just a sort of slightly reformed Iran. So we really see like two sides of the same coin in terms of the Green Movement, and how the United States sort of like tries to play towards all of this is any sort of political division within the Iranian society. They try to exploit it. So whenever the demonstrations happened in 2009, the United States didn't really support demonstrations in the streets, but they did say, like, look at how horrible the Iranian government is. They're attacking their own people, and sort of exploiting that. But I mean, when Iran was actually experiencing a real revolution, they were doing all they could to suppress it.
About the recent event in 2009, the Green Movement, there was absolutely, from what I have read or heard from my countrymen, there was not much international interference in that. It was a movement from the Iranian youth, sick and tired of inequality, not having jobs, being graduated. And in a country that, we have an economist here, it has the highest PPD in the world, even ahead of China. Why people don't have jobs? And why they have to listen and be forced to wear certain type of clothes or to participate in certain types of ceremonies. Therefore, this movement, there was three people in it, as he mentioned, Ahmadinejad, Kahroubi, and Mousavi, which Mousavi brought about, as they say, some people, I don't know if I am supposed to believe it or not, 20 million votes. Kahroubi got about 14 million, and Ahmadinejad got around 5. But for some reason, everything got stopped, and the clerical judgment system voted on it in 3 weeks, and the results came out that, with a small fraction, Ahmadinejad won and whatnot. That's the extent of about that movement. But about the MKA, I have to paraphrase or rephrase that. MKA is Mujahideen Khalq Iran. This group was a wonderful revolutionary group, began 4 or 5 decades ago. They combined ideology of socialism with Islam together. And their fighters were wonderfully accepted all over Iran. Everyone respected them. And their followers were from the highest and the best students in high schools, universities, professors, painters, musicians, I mean, their members were phenomenal. But what happened is, through time, when they went out of country and then they got defeated, closely post 1979, what happened when they got cornered in Iraq, things started changing. And two things happened. The leader, which is the wife of Masoud Rajavi, she is very well liked and respected still. And Masoud Rajavi, which is her husband, he is the one that people are divided about him, because he had some agreements and concessions at the time that he was in Iraq through Saddam Hussein. But they still live in a camp in Iraq. The name of this camp is Ashraf. And I don't want to talk about the leaders, but I can really talk about the members of this. There are phenomenally wonderful people, and they are not at the right at all.